Welcome. My name is Patrick Curran, and along with my cruciverbalist friend Greg Hancock, we make up Quantitude. We are a podcast dedicated to all things quantitative, ranging from the relevant to the completely irrelevant. In this week's episode, Greg and I revisit our earlier promise of creating 7 questions that will help you use your Quantitude to annoy the people you love. Having broken our promise, we are free to propose 9 questions for which we seek a mnemonic device that does not include an acronym. Along the way, we discuss relationship mandates, mildly inebriated brothers, hypoxic voice memos, fish versus ice cubes, Smitty's corpse, talking to houseplants, statistical baggage, Henry V, Pascal's wager, my very educated mother, massaging cryptids, making mischief, being cruciferous, Peter and Gary, pneumatic devices, and so that happened. We hope you enjoy this week's episode. Dude, I don't know about you, but I don't know where the year went. How did we get to the last episode of the season?
I feel like there has been this thing lurking in the background. Like, we made promises at some point, if I recall. Am I right?
To our spouses, to our children, to our colleagues.
Let's narrow it down, please. Let's focus on the relationship aspect of the promise.
Oh, God, no. Don't make me talk about relationships.
Well, Patrick, we made promises to each other the first episode of the season, didn't we?
You made promises, and I supported the promises that you made. I don't recall making promises myself.
I recall you having mandates of what needed to happen in order for this relationship to succeed.
No, what's tough about the gig that you and I do, I can have a recollection and you can have a recollection, except there is literally a publicly posted audio recording of what we actually said, right? Could you imagine that with a partner? You said, I never said that. And they pull out Apple Podcasts and say, oh, that's funny. Here's what you said.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last part. Would the court reporter please read that back for us?
So, yeah, my recollection may be slightly skewed. I am willing to admit that. Okay. But if I do recall, the admonitions I had were less about what we were going to do and what we were not going to do. For those of you who don't recall, this was season 7. The opening gag was that we were trying to avoid the 7-year itch. How do we spice up our relationship? What's the difference between a routine and a rut? And we decided that we were going to try something new and see if that spiced up the relationship. Now, my understanding was at the end of that episode, we'd never have to discuss relationships again. Evidently, you walked away with a slightly different understanding.
It's just that I think a relationship is a work in progress.
Oh, God. But what we decided is we were going to try these new In the Wild episodes where every now and then when the mood struck us, we would talk about how do you apply your Quantitude to everyday things. And we did a couple off-the-shelf things. We talked about NPR. We talked about birth order. But then we drunkenly stumbled into college stuff, which actually was a lot of fun. We talked about SAT. We talked about GPA, about essays, about college rankings, about is college worth it? So we had a lot of fun with that. But what we did promise was over the season, we were going to develop a set of questions that you could ask to annoy the people who love you.
I don't remember that being as explicit a process as it sounded when we were making this promise, right? It's not like each episode we were revealing new questions, refining them, honing them, and that now all we have to do is sort of roll tape. You know, this is what we said in episode 14. So I think we weren't quite as methodical in that process as we might have thought we were going to be.
Is it because we organize entire episodes on a yellow sticky? I think that is part of it. I do have a vague memory that the one request I had, the one and only request, was that you do not come up with some kind of acronym that's going to annoy me.
Again, I remember things differently.
Could I make one rule for you?
Would you?
I would like the 7 questions to not be associated with an acronym.
I love
All right.
acronyms.
I know that's the problem.
And mnemonics. Oh my God.
Dude, I have worked with you so long. You're going to come up with like question authority. Use your brain. Anus is a fun word to say.
What I remember is come up with an acronym.
Oh, boy. We'd come up with 7 questions that we wanted to do only because it was season 7.
That's a good reason.
That was a great reason. We have found out that, of course, we have more than that. So Greg's idea was, let's just make it 7 plus or minus 2.
Exactly.
We have 9 things that if you are at a picnic this summer and your mildly inebriated brother comes up to you and declares something holds true, these are the 9 steps that you can use to annoy the crap out of him. That's what we were doing, right? That was the goal?
I think it's a very noble goal, right? Because we would like anybody out there, whether you are in a professional setting evaluating something that makes a claim within your field, or you are in a social setting and someone pulls something out of their butt and lays that claim right on you, that you have some questions that you can ask to evaluate that. And I will say, I think it's a really fun activity to try to ask ourselves, what are the core things that we really need to ask about? And that's what we promised that we would deliver.
And I like you use the phrase fun because you and I have done preparation for this episode. We've exchanged emails, we've exchanged text. We exchanged a highly hypoxic voice memo that I sent.
Which I will insert no matter how many times you cut it out. I'm putting it back in.
Hey, buddy. It is a heat index day here with a heat advisory. So, of course, I'm out on a run just because I'm a moron. But I thought of a sentence that I kind of like, and I wanted to share it before I forgot. If I get back to the car, I won't even have remembered what I was doing. So here's what we're going to do. We came up with 9 questions. We tried to capture each one in a single word. I'm going to read the 9 words straight through. Source, sampling, design, measurement, mechanism, moderation, alternatives, generalizability, and impact.
Okay.
Now, admittedly, they're not questions and there aren't 7 of them. But other than that, we are absolutely delivering on what we promised we would in episode 1.
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right. Have a great summer, everybody.
Yeah. All right. So how about if we go through each of the 9, reiterate what it is, give a little example just so people can understand what we were thinking.
All right. So we're going to start with the first one.
Number 1.
Source.
Okay. The word source was chosen for what is the source of the information, or just generally, where did you hear that? When your mildly inebriated brother comes up to you at that party and makes some sort of claim, you want to know where that came from. Did he hear it on Facebook? Did it pop up in his Instagram feed? Did he read a journal article? So where did this come from? Because that lends a little bit of credibility or lack thereof to the claim that's being made.
I see this as an opening gambit. So that's really interesting. You read the SAT as biased. Well, where'd you read that?
Right.
And this is never a one-stop question because somebody might say, well, in the New York Times. And here's what I think is the more important question. Oh, that's interesting. Where did they get that information? And then you start doing a backward trace on this. And to be super clear, this is not a challenge as to, well, if it's not a randomized clinical trial in a peer-reviewed journal.
That's right.
This is in the New York Times. Was that a news article or was that an op-ed piece?
Yeah.
Because they have great op-ed columns in there. Somebody might have said, well, my child took the SAT and here are the reasons I think it's biased. That is a valid, legitimate line of reasoning, but that's very different than a New York Times article that reports on a recent publication of a meta-analysis of 100 different studies on the SAT. So to me, this is just the opening gambit. Oh, that's really interesting. Where'd you hear that? So that's question number 1.
Source. All right.
Number 2.
Sampling. What's the question that goes with sampling?
Well, that's the fun one, is how interesting. Where did they get the subjects that they study? What was sampling? Where did those people come from? So you're saying the SAT is biased. There was a scientific study. Where'd the people come from? Are they kids who are already in college? Are they kids who are in high school and want to go to college? Mm-hmm. Are they kids who are in high school and you don't know yet if they want to go to college or not? Was there an active sampling design, or was it volunteer? Was it observational? Where did the people come from? So where'd you hear it? Where'd the people come from?
Number 3.
Design.
What was the nature of the design? Was it a true experiment? Was it a quasi-experiment? Was it observational? You don't need to be very technical in your language of asking this particular question. It's just sort of, what was the nature of the design of that study that gathered that information? We know as methodologists that lends credibility or lends suspicion to certain aspects, but just understanding the nature of what things might have been controlled or not controlled as part of the design seems a reasonable way to try to gauge the claim that's being made.
And with a lot of things, we really do want to make causal-like statements.
Yep.
If you follow a Mediterranean diet, it will cause you to live longer. The design aspect is, did you find a bunch of 90-year-olds and ask them what they ate? Mm-hmm. Or did you randomly assign people to different diets and follow them over time? Those are two fundamentally different kinds of inferences that we make. So that's that question, is what was the experimental design? What did they do?
So we've had source, sampling, and design.
Number 4.
Measurement.
We're going to finish up this as an 8-hour episode talking about this topic, because this one is near and dear to the two of us, but also should be to anybody out there. We're going to dig up the corpse of Smitty Stevens, and we're going to say, what is the principled assignment of numbers to observations? How did they get those numbers? We talked about college rankings. What were the constructs that were important to how you would rank colleges? How do you identify the observable events that would indicate those underlying constructs? How, in a systematic way, would you assign numerical values to those? And then how do you reliably and validly line them up, where higher values represent more of that thing and lower values represent less of that thing? It is one of the most important things in everything we do every day of our lives.
And I think it's one of the most damning areas when someone makes a claim. So when someone says that, oh, people in Denmark are happier than people in Canada or something, and you ask, well, how did they measure happiness? Did people just check a box that said, I'm happy? Or did they administer some psychological inventory on happiness? How did they actually measure that?
Why, yes, this does involve Kai Ryssdal.
Oh.
If we're going to talk about relationship issues, I do have a bit of a bromance with Kai Ryssdal, although he does not know that.
Look, I get it. I do. It's easy to get distracted by the bright, shiny object that is the Dow. But not for the first time. I would urge you to look away, because there are other, better, actual market indicators that can give you a more real sense of what's going on out there.
And this is a measurement issue. Having a record high close for the Dow Jones does not mean that we have a strong economy. So that's measurement. All right, my turn to throw back to you.
Yep.
What is the source? Where did the people come from? What was the design? How did you measure things?
Number 5.
Mechanism.
We toyed with the word mediation here, and that seemed a little bit more formal. But the idea of mechanism is, all right, you've got a claim. How the heck does that thing actually work? If someone said, oh, people who own houseplants report less stress. Okay, well, how is that supposed to work? Do the houseplants make cleaner air where people live? Does it make more pleasant surroundings that make people feel better about things? So understanding the mechanism by which this effect is supposed to operate seems pretty important to being able to evaluate it.
And we did argue a bit over this one because for us, mediation is the more natural phrase.
Yes.
But we feel like that comes with baggage of statistics. If you're in the game and you're listening to this and you think about mediation, that invokes a whole universe of things. Barron and Kenny and products and bootstrap standard errors. And so we pan back a little bit more broadly on mechanism is, again, talking to your brother-in-law and saying, oh, that is really interesting. Why does that hold? What is the causal mechanism? What leads to what leads to what? Right? And we do this in our day job. So in my neck of the woods, if you have a substance-using parent, their child is more likely to use substances themselves. Well, what is the mechanism for that? Well, substance-using parents have substances in the house. If you drink heavily in alcohol, you have a beer fridge and its availability. Well, that's one mechanism. Well, substance-using parents having an inebriated parent in the house increases stress. And stress increases anxiety and depression. And anxiety and depression increase the likelihood that a kid is going to use substances to self-medicate, make those feelings go away. But that holds in everything. When you read that if you eat fish 3 days a week, your mental ability will be improved. That's really interesting. But why is that? Is it the fish that you're eating that's the causal mechanism? Or by eating fish, you're not eating something else that would have a negative impact? So really, the fish doesn't have anything to do with it at all. If you sucked an ice cube, as long as you're not eating a triple cheeseburger, you're going to be in better shape. So that is mechanism. Okay, so what's the source? Where'd the people come from? What's the design? How did you measure? What's the mechanism?
Number 6.
Moderation.
All right, 2 reactions to the word moderation. First, it is a statistical term, but it's also a term that exists out in the wild. When you think about people moderating arguments, helping to alter the way things relate to each other. Patrick had, I think it was all the way back in season 1, this wonderful phrase, and it's been something that we have woven in and out of stuff that we've talked about over the last 7 seasons, and that is just a simple phrase, it depends. I love that. I use it all the time. Anytime there's an analysis that someone does, I will ask, well, does that depend on other characteristics of the individuals? So if someone says, oh, this weight loss program, people lose 10 pounds. And then we say, does everyone lose 10 pounds? Are there characteristics of the individuals that might moderate how much weight people lose or whether or not this particular treatment is even effective for them? Or if someone touts a new teaching strategy and says, oh, this is going to raise test scores by 20 points. Okay, well, is it going to work for everybody? For me, this is just one of the most important questions to ask when someone makes a claim, because they make claims emphatically as though it is going to be chiseled into stone. But that one little thing that you can say to annoy them is, does it depend?
And if you go back to the substance use example, does fathers drinking increase the probability of child's drinking? You might ask, is there a non-drinking parent in the house that can serve to protect the child from that parent's drinking? So does the father's drinking increase the risk of child drinking? It depends. So that is moderation.
So we've had source, sampling, design, measurement, mechanism, moderation, and now we have
Number 7.
alternatives.
Greg and I argued over this as well, and Greg mostly sat back and let me argue with myself because I first proposed internal validity. One thing I didn't like about internal validity is it is a very specific technical cooking Campbell kind of term. The more important one is it was 2 words, and we were really trying to have 1 word, and that was what was really important here. But internal validity is the extent to which you're validly inferring the causal process. So you can see all of these questions have overlapping Venn diagrams kind of thing, right? Because this is part of design, this is part of measurement, this is part of mechanism. But if you're going to say that the parent's drinking in part causes the child's drinking, you've identified the proper cause. and it's not something else that is correlated to that or omitted from the model or is being suppressed in some way. How we decided to more broadly describe that was, well, what are the alternatives? What are alternative hypotheses? If you're going to say eating fish causes your memory to improve, I absolutely don't doubt the data that shows this relation. But is it really the fish?
Yeah.
Or is it maybe something else that we're not even aware of?
There's so many claims that are out there that are exactly in that particular pattern. When Cheerios claims that eating Cheerios reduces your cholesterol, part of the problem is that eating Cheerios means you're not eating a giant bacon and egg breakfast. Oh, I like bacon and egg breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as long as you're in my house, you'll do what I do and believe what I believe. So butter your bacon.
Yes, Father.
As you said, maybe I could suck on an ice cube and have the same effect. But this is where we're putting our Sherlock Holmes hat on, right? This is where we are saying, what are all the other competing explanations? And maybe in the issue of design that we talked about earlier, maybe the design has been such that we have ruled out a lot of competing explanations through a true experiment or even a quasi-experiment. But as we start moving more toward things that are observational, that's when Sherlock Holmes finds a lot more competing explanations that we have to either work hard to find reasons why those are not what's happening here, or acknowledge that that's a possibility.
And this is the fun part of our day job in saying, well, what are alternative hypotheses? Any of you out there who have kids, undoubtedly, either with your partner or at a neighborhood picnic or whatever it might be, you've had to struggle with, do I put my kids in public school or do I put my kids in private school, if that's an option for you? My wife and I did these open houses at private schools, and they say our graduates are 3 times more likely to go to an Ivy League than a graduate from a public school. They literally have this up on the PowerPoint.
Oh, sure.
And again, in the spirit of losing friends and annoying people, which is why we're here, you raise your hand and say, well, I walked in from the parking lot and saw the value of the cars of everybody who came here tonight. What evidence do you have that your school is what's increasing that probability and not just family wealth and all the sequela that's involved with that? That's the fun part is, that's really interesting. I didn't realize that until you told me over hot dogs when you're on your 5th beer. Maybe you should not be having your 5th beer. But to say, wouldn't it be equally likely if, and fill in the blank.
Yep.
So that is alternatives.
Excellent.
All right. We got 2 left. This is the penultimate one.
Wait. So we're in the plus or minus 2 zone. We just hit 7.
Yep.
And now we're plus 2.
We're moving into the plus or minus 2. But it's so rare I get to accurately use the word penultimate is that I'm going to use it here. We are at the penultimate.
Let's just take a moment. That's nice, Patrick. Okay.
And notice I said accurately because for 50 years I used it incorrectly. But that's a topic for another day. All right, where'd you hear that? Where'd the people come from? What was the design of the study? How'd they measure? What was the hypothesized mechanism? Were there any moderators? What are alternative explanations?
Number 7, +1.
Generalizability.
All right, generalizability. So just like wrestling with the term internal validity, but we went with alternatives, here we could have used the term external validity, but we went with something that was just a little more broad.
And one word.
And one word. Yeah, that's really the only criterion for this. Is it simple? So
that is not how I said it.
Okay, so generalizability. Would we expect this result to hold elsewhere? And elsewhere can broadly mean across person, place, time, context, situation, however you want to frame it. If you smell the faint whiff of replicability in the background, we sort of lump replicability in here with generalizability. Would we expect this result to occur, again, under the same circumstances, but even more broadly under other circumstances? If someone has some great classroom intervention that they have done in suburban Portland, Oregon, Oregon, and they want to make the claim that this has this particular effect. And you look at the study and you go, oh my gosh, that was a really tight study. Very, very well done. But is this same treatment going to work in rural Alabama? Is it going to work in urban Chicago? Is it going to work in some other country, right? It's very reasonable to ask whether or not we would expect this result to occur under other conditions of person, place, and time.
And again, in the spirit of the overlapping Venn diagram, there's a moderating element to this of it depends.
Yeah.
None of these are orthogonal to one another, and so there's an overlap element to this, but it goes a bit beyond moderation because I think it is more, and yes, using a redundancy, a more general issue. Mm-hmm. To what extent do these findings generalize across person, place, and time?
So wait, then this is the ultimate. If the last one was the penultimate, this is the ultimate. Are we ready?
If penum means second to last, I'm not sure what penum means.
Just quit while you're ahead.
The prefix pena, from the Latin peine, means almost or nearly. Combined with the Latin word ultimus, or last, the full word penultimate literally means almost last. There is no such word as penum. Did you even go to college?
All right, so here we go. Source sampling design, measurement mechanism moderation, alternatives, generalizability, and the last one.
Number 7, +2.
Impact.
We argued a little bit about this one, whether to include it or not. Mm-hmm. And Greg carried the day. I was less enthusiastic and he convinced me, mostly because I dozed off during the conversation. And when I woke up, I just said, that sounds great.
Rather, proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us.
This really is an effect size-like question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it important? Do I care? We talked earlier in the season where we applied our quantitude to birth order, and I do remember reading one of the New York Times articles, and they were interviewing somebody who was really pushing for birth order, and they admitted that the difference in birth order was something like 1% on a test, but that they said it could be the tipping point between an A and a B that would lead the person to go to a private school versus a public school. Mm-hmm. It was the most inane thing I had ever heard. Why I argued against it initially is I am a big fan of proof of concepts. Mm-hmm. I think that simply showing an effect is in itself meaningful. Greg really did convince me, and I'm 100% on board, which is, that's really interesting. Do I care?
The place where it comes from for me is first and foremost the difference between a statistically significant result and a practically significant result. Once we cross the statistically significant threshold, you got to ask that question. Does it really matter? Does a diet that you have followed for 3 months where you've lost 2 pounds, is that worth it? Are people going to go, oh yes, I really need to adopt that lifestyle change for those 2 pounds? We read things like this all the time where the presence of a particular gene increases your likelihood of dying by 3 times. And you're like, oh my God, I've got this gene. And then you realize your chance of dying of this in the first place without having this gene is like 1 in 100,000. And now it's 3 in 100,000. That might have implications for healthcare systems, for entire nations when you start to accrue the number of individuals that might actually suffer from this. But when you think about it at the individual level, I don't know that I'm going to lose a whole lot of sleep over having that gene that makes me 3 times more likely to die of this thing that I barely had any chance of dying of in the first place. So I think asking ourselves, is this anything that I am interested in, that I will worry about, that should change my behavior as an individual, as a scientist? I think it's a very important culminating question to ask.
I don't remember, but I think it was the mathematician Pascal who derived mathematically that he was going to believe in God because he thought there was an infinitesimal probability that God existed, but when multiplied by eternity, that was a meaningful number.
Yeah.
And so mathematically, he decided it was in his best interest to believe in God.
Pascal's wager.
Okay, that's it. That's 7 plus or minus 2. Notice that brings us to, there was no minus 2. We were just trying to back data check to get us to 9. Okay, now how in heaven's name are we going to remember this? Because the one thing I remember from episode 1 is under no circumstances were you going to do an acronym, because I know you were going to come up with like, let's be Quanti, or be a Quantitude, or some ridiculous thing that made me pull my computer line out of the wall and text you, sorry, just lost signal.
We can agree on it would be nice, having articulated these things, for people to have a way of remembering them. I seem to remember that an acronym would be a great way to remember this. When we were originally aiming for 7, I tried really hard to make this spell out maybe.
And what was my reaction to that?
I don't think it was very supportive or anything that advanced our relationship.
I think it was very supportive. My supportive response was, how many damn M's are there?
That's right. Well, that's the beauty of it, because then you could have 7, you could have 9, you could have as many as you need. It just has to start with an M. But it's true. You said no acronyms, but we still need a way for people to remember this, some kind of mnemonic device.
Okay, so pop quiz. Greg doesn't know I'm going to ask him this.
Oh, God.
Give me right now the order of the planets starting from the sun out. Go.
When I was a kid, my very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas.
All right.
But I think it's changed now, right?
So Greg and I grew up where Pluto was a planet, so I still say 9 pizzas.
Okay.
But it has been modified to served us noodles. Because Pluto got demoted. But
Okay.
I don't know how many of you out there learned this yourself, but the starting letter of each of that is a planet. My very educated mother, we got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and then go ahead and throw Pluto on if you want to put in 9 pizzas. For guitarists out there, Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. You familiar with that one?
Those are the strings, right?
The strings on the guitar.
Strings in order. Yeah.
Yep. EAD-GBE. That's one of my favorite. Goodbye, Eddie. So instead of maybe,
I think it had potential.
what if we take the first letter of each of the 9 and come up with a sentence, and this is the operative term that we can agree on.
Okay.
Because I got to tell you, folks, we have argued about this for days, and I conceded this morning because I was just tired.
For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother.
And gentlemen in England, now abed, shall think themselves accursed they were not here.
Okay. So we have SSD-MMM-AGI. We needed a mnemonic that goes with that. The first thing I came up with, which you don't know, sexy Sasquatches don't mind massages, most appreciate gentle intimacy. Okay, if you could see the look that Patrick is giving me right now, it's like, really? But we didn't go with that. In fact, I never even mentioned that to Patrick. Instead, the more serious one.
Skeptical scientists declare maybe making meaning after gathering information.
I like it.
I like it too. Skeptical scientists declare maybe making meaning after gathering information. If you take the first letter of each of those, source, sampling, design, measurement, mechanism, moderation, alternatives, generalizability, and impact, and there is no massaging of a cryptid. I just want to point out. You know, there's some things every now and then that you say something and you thought, I never imagined hitting a point in my life where I would say that sentence. I'm going to add that to my list. There is no massaging of a cryptid.
There could be. If that would help this relationship.
But here's the one I wanted. It was exactly the same statement, but instead of making meaning after gathering information, it was making mischief and gathering information. That was my favorite because my joy is messing with your inebriated brother-in-law, and I see that as making mischief.
Sure.
So we are going to go with the official Quantitude. Skeptical scientists declare maybe making meaning after gathering information.
The 7 Quantitude questions, plus or minus 2.
And it's really just +2. You keep saying minus, but it's just +2.
Okay. Source, sampling, design, measurement, mechanism, moderation, alternatives, generalizability, and impact.
Excuse me.
Get out of my way.
Sir, excuse
Get out
me.
of my way.
Excuse
I
me,
need
sir.
to talk to
Excuse me,
Peter and
sir.
Gary right
Excuse
now.
me. Excuse me. I am so sorry. I took out all of his security detail.
Very impressive, I admit. Very impressive.
Thank you.
I know you guys are recording an episode about how to use your Quantitude.
How did you know that? We're recording it right now.
Never mind. That's not important.
Seems important.
I just had a question for you guys. Melania keeps leaving crossword puzzles for me all over the White House.
Sir, maybe that just means that she wants you to be a cruciverbalist.
Like broccoli or kale?
No, sir, that's cruciferous.
Cruciverbalist just means someone who does crossword puzzles.
She left this article for me that said doing crossword puzzles can help prevent dementia. Do you think she thinks I have dementia?
I can't speak to that, sir, but I wouldn't get too down about it.
I don't get it.
That's a crossword puzzle joke. 2 down. You see, there's across things and down things.
Whatever. Do you guys know if the whole thing about crossword puzzles helping to prevent dementia is true?
We don't, but maybe you could use your Quantitude to figure it out.
Do you think I could?
Absolutely. Just ask the questions, remember?
Hey, I can make up my own pneumatic device.
Mnemonic, sir.
Just remember SS,
Okay, SS, sparkly sausages,
DMM,
delicious manatee marshmallows,
MAGI.
magnificent awkward gravy iguanas.
Okay.
Come on, sir. Let's go.
Wait, what does it stand for again?
Come on, sir. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
Hey, are you interested in a job in my personal secret service? You were pretty good back there.
It's okay, sir. I'm very happy here at Quantitude.
Succulent submarines, disco moose meatballs, microwave anchovy goose igloo.
That was interesting.
Did you ever see the Mammoth movie State of Maine?
No.
Absolutely hilarious. There's a lovely line in it where all this preposterous stuff happens and the character pops up and says,
So that happened.
I'm kind of feeling this way right now.
Wait, about the season?
About where I've come in my life. No, I'm sorry. A talking monkey and the President of the United States were just in your huffing closet.
Not a monkey.
Well, notwithstanding, I had a great season, and I am enjoying doing this with you as much as I ever have. This is the part where you say something validating.
I am enjoyable to work with.
See, I'm glad we agree on that. So thank you, everybody, for hanging with us. We will be back in the fall with Season 8, and I'm already excited about it. Patrick and I are making plans to get together and map everything out, after which we will, true to form, proceed to ignore almost everything we plan.
Hey, thank you, everybody. We so deeply appreciate your time. We sincerely do. Have a lovely summer. We'll see you in August.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to tell your friends to subscribe to Quantitude on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever they go for things that massage their cryptid. You can follow us on X, Blue Sky, or Instagram, where we are at QuantitudePod, and visit our website, quantitudepod.org, where you can leave us a message, find organized playlists, show notes, syllabi, and other fun stuff. And finally, get cool Quantitude merch, like t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, and notebooks from redbubble.com, where all proceeds from non-bootleg authorized Quantitude Pod merch go to donorschoose.org to help support low-income schools. Today's episode has been sponsored by...
Hey, Peter!
Greg.
Huh?
It's Greg, sir.
Who's Greg?
Gary.
Whatever. Have you seen the Ninja Ferret?
The what?
That furry little guy who went all John Wick on my Secret Service?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Hey, I need your help.
Okay, sir. What's up?
What's a 7-letter word, meaning easily perceived or understood, starting with the letter O?
I think it's obvious, isn't it?
No, that's why I'm asking. What about dishonestly gaining advantage? 8 letters. Can you help me with that one?
That would be cheating.
Wow, you're no help at all. I'll admit, this is kind of fun, though.
Dementia doesn't stand a chance, sir.
You've been listening to Quantitude, the podcast undoing whatever benefit you might have gotten from crossword puzzles since 2019.